Good morning. Can everyone hear me? Yes, I guess you can. Good morning. Excited to see you all. We have a really good agenda. Higher? I have to talk louder? Oh, boy. I'm rarely told that. Okay, and I'm glad to see a lot of our neighbors from the houses, and you can tell them because they all have jackets on the back of their chair, as do I. All right, please silence all your devices, watches, phones, whatever you carry with you. It can just go off and be very disruptive to our speakers. So I appreciate that. And with that, I'm going to ask Barbara Hooper to kick us off with the invocation, please.
Good morning. I know that on occasions like this, you are sometimes asked to bow your heads and to, in reverence to whomever or whatever you pray to or believe in, and you are certainly welcome to do that. This comes from the web. As you know, that's my normal place to go to for an invocation, and I thought this one was particularly appropriate in this time before Thanksgiving. Be in this moment with me. We're surrounded by people with enormous talent, kindness, empathy, and impact. And we have come to attain these things by some combination of natural ability, hard work, positive influences, a reasonably good education, and even some luck. Our lives might be drastically different if even one of those things just went a little differently. So to begin, let's take a moment to be grateful for the simple fact that we are here and that we are fortunate or lucky or special enough to be among people we respect and admire. Let's take a moment today to express gratitude, whether it's to a God or a friend or a spouse or to the person sitting next to you for the opportunities we have been given and the mistakes for which we have been forgiven. Let's be grateful, whether for a greater plan or for a random sequence of events that has led us to spend this time together. However you got here, I'm glad you're here and grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please stand if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Okay, we will now start with Katie Amador, who is going to do the human resource recognitions for October and November.
Good morning, everyone. If you are being recognized, I will ask you to come up to the front, please. Thank you. All right, we'll start with our October Rookies of the Month, who are not here, unfortunately, but we have Sheree Davis, who is one of our registered nurses in the healthcare center. She more recently joined our team and is proving to be very invaluable. Her favorite hospitality promise is there anything else I can do for you? And Stephanie Markowski, our healthcare administrator, says she truly embodies that hospitality promise. Sheree is timely, dependable, and always willing to help. Congratulations, Sheree, for being October Rookie of the Month. We also have Anthony Vitier. You can hold your applause until the end. We also have Anthony Vitier. He is one of our servers in the Loon's Nest, so you might recognize his name. He is not here right now, but he will be here later today, so you can congratulate him in the Loon's Nest. Anthony started out a little bit timid and shy, but has really come into his own, serving you all in the Loon's Nest. He's one of our most dependable servers, earning praise from many residents in this room and his teammates. Anthony's growth and commitment to excellent service are a great example of what our dining culture is all about. Next, we will move on to our October Employees of the Month, and one of those is here today. We have Miss Candace Yates, our Business Office Manager. Candace is directly responsible for our billing, revenue, and collections, but her impact extends far beyond the numbers. She has played a major role in supporting the Culture Committee, leading 10-year celebrations, and adding her creative touch to so many fun carts and various events. During some of our most challenging times, Candace's steady leadership and unwavering dedication helped hold the community together. Cypress Village is truly fortunate to have her. Congratulations, Candace. All right, and next, our second October Employee of the Month was Latrice Wilson. She is a caregiver with our Innovative Home Services Department. Latrice brings heart, empathy, and energy to everything she does. She lives her favorite hospitality promise: we embrace and value our differences, and is there anything else I can do for you? Every single day. She goes out of her way to learn what brings joy to her residents and helps them maintain a sense of independence and pride. Latrice is a true asset to the IHS team. Yes. Congratulations, Latrice. All right, and next up, our November Rookies of the Month. We have one here as well. Miss Kim Pagana, our Director of Innovative Home Services. Yes. Kim boldly stepped into the Director of IHS role in just August, it feels like so long ago, and has shown remarkable leadership ever since. Managing a team of nearly 50 associates is no small task, yet Kim leads with calm confidence, compassion, and always a steady hand. Her approach has transformed the culture of IHS in such a positive way, and we're proud to celebrate her today. Congratulations, Kim. All right, and our second November Rookie of the Month is Mr. Dallas Walker, another server from the Loon's Nest. Dallas, I believe he wears a tall hat. Yes, you might recognize him. Dallas has quickly become a favorite among the residents in the Loon's Nest. His reliability, attention to detail, and dedication to great service shine through every shift. We've seen tremendous growth in his confidence and connection with residents, and his efforts truly elevate the Loon's Nest experience. Congratulations to Dallas. And yes, and lastly, our November Employees of the Month, we have Mr. Joe Murphy, our maintenance manager. Joe returned to our team this year after serving for many years prior and has immediately made a tremendous impact. As maintenance manager, he's dependable, hardworking, and always ready to help wherever he's needed. Most recently, Joe covered the entire plant ops department while Dave was out on medical leave, keeping everything running smoothly without missing a beat, which is no easy task. His knowledge and steady leadership are invaluable to our campus. Congratulations, Joe. And lastly, she's unable to be here today, but our last November Employee of the Month is Sue Pearl, or Susan Pearl. She is one of our RN shift supervisors. She works during the nights in the healthcare center. She has been here for almost a decade and is deeply dedicated, compassionate, and tireless in her care for her residents and the healthcare center team. Her leadership on nights ensures that our residents are in the best hands, always receiving the level of care that Cypress Village is known for. Congratulations to all of our October and November Employees of the Month and Rookies of the Month. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Congratulations to you all. You've all earned it, and we're very proud of you and grateful for you also. Okay, now we're going to get an update from Jim Janro on FLICRA. That's the Florida Life Care Residents Association. Some of you, hopefully, most of you, are familiar with it. And they had their meeting, annual meeting in October right here in Ponte Vedra. And any of us can go, I believe. And I would like to encourage in the future we have more participation because it's very important to people in our state of life, shall we say, in this state. So with that, I'd like to introduce Jim Janro. James.
Good morning. I'm going to talk about FLICRA, Florida Life Care Residents Association. FLICRA is the organization that protects us residents. It is basically a lobbyist firm, and the way I like to put it is that they ensure that people don't reach into our pockets and take our money. It's the best way to look at it, because the legislature sometimes has a interest different from ours as residents, and therefore FLICRA works against those laws and ensure that those laws are there to protect us as residents. So on the 16th of October, I went to Vickers Landing because that's where the annual meeting was held. So I went to Vickers Landing for the annual meeting. And if you go to the FLICRA bulletin board that is between the concierge's office and the business office, you'll see this document there. And that document gives you several reference points. One is a summary of the annual meeting, and two, means of downloading the presentation that was made by Catherine Pearson, professor of law from Penn State. And she made the presentation to the residents, the CCRC's gaps in CCRC state oversight. What is missing? And her presentation, and I should also add, if you download the presentation, you'll get the presentation, and it's there for you to look at. At that same time, we also recognized the outgoing members of the FLICRA board and introduced the new members. The other thing I want to talk about is related to FLICRA, and it's going to be this document that you're going to see on the board. What this document identifies is what's happening in the legislation that's being drafted between OIR, who's the responsible state agency, Leading Age Southeast Florida, and FLICRA. The three entities are working to come up with a common, agreed-to document. A draft was submitted to the three organizations on the 7th of November for their review and to provide comments. FLICRA has a working group for the purpose of representing us as residents and an attempt to come up with our comments and present them to FLICRA and in turn to Leading Age and OIR. there is a link on this document that tells you where OIR is and another link to the draft. So I recommend that you go to that bulletin board and take a picture of those documents and in turn check those links out because they're very important to us and we should be informed of what is happening. And now we'll pass the mic to Janet Allen.
Thank you, Jim. We appreciate that. And if other people were interested in getting more involved with that, may they contact you? Good. Okay. Contact him, and that would be great. I just wanted to bring attention, the treasurer's report and the occupancy report is on the back of your agenda. And what doesn't reflect there is, because it happened in November, but the balance at the end of October was $1,625.57. I guess we'll carry that 57 cents forever. Maybe I need to just take some 43 cents and put it in there just for the heck of it. But anyway, the RAC did approve and donate $500 to the Employee Gift Fund, which will be reflected on the Treasurer's report for November. Okay. Janet. Here you are. Janet will give us an update on the Community Fund.
Hello, I'm Janet Allen. I'm the chair of the Cypress Village Community Fund. I spoke at our last meeting, and I told you that we were reorganizing the community fund so we would become a nonprofit. We are receiving professional assistance from South Beach Tax and Financial Services. My update is simply that the organization is coming together. We've done our bylaws that need to be approved by our board, but first we're making sure they're in compliance with the nonprofit status we are seeking. We're also having to do policies and procedures, which we're currently working on, and much, much, much more. Our submission date we have set for January 1st. We're going to talk about that on Wednesday because I'm not sure we can make it because it's the holidays, okay? So that's my update, and we're going to try to update you each month, and we hope that exciting things are to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janet. Our next update will come from Barbara Hooper regarding the Employee Gift Fund. And before you get up, Barbara, I just want to say we still have 2.5 weeks to go for those of you who have perhaps procrastinated or have been away or tied up with something else. As you know, it's an important fund for our employees, and there's been some confusion about the name. There is only one fund. You donate that, you put it in the envelope, put it in the box in the library. It's currently called the Employee Gift Fund, but it's also called the Employee Appreciation Fund. It's also been called the Employee Christmas Fund, but there is only one fund, so don't feel like you're being hit by 3 different funds if some of your neighbors refer to it as a different thing. If you don't receive a thank you note, because thank you notes are going out very promptly, if you don't receive a thank you note, perhaps your check got lost. So then you'd want to follow up with some people on the committee, which would be Gail Reed, Mary Slattery, who is away, and Lori Argos. But anyway, you should receive the thank you note. They've been very prompt. So with that, I'll introduce Barbara again.
I wrote this down so you all wouldn't leave while I got on my soapbox. As of our last tally on Friday of this past week, whoopsie, I can't read my writing, 239 households out of 600 at Cypress Village have contributed $159,425. That's toward a goal of $250,000. Thanks to those of you who have already made a donation, but there is still about 100,000 or more to collect before the Thanksgiving deadline. I'm paraphrasing an old retailer's commercial that they ran the week before Christmas. So I've substituted giving for shopping. It's too late to give early, but it's not too late to give late. Over the years that I've lived at Cypress Village, I have often heard that residents and staff are a family, and the upcoming holidays are for family. Collectively, the more than 400 associates make Cypress Village a great place to live. You're asked to share the joy with a generous contribution to the Employee Gift Fund. But if you want to do another one to the Christmas Fund and another one to the Appreciation, you may feel free. Not only will the staff be blessed, but giving will make you feel blessed as well. So if you haven't given yet, or if you want to give again, I urge you to make a generous donation to the Gift Fund and share the joy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Barbara, and I hope all of you who haven't gotten to it yet will do it and will contribute. Right before we introduce Chris Westmoreland, who's going to present to you the new RAC members, I just want to mention that on this week's Coffee Chat, you'll be hearing about a food drive that we're going to have here at Cypress Village. As you know, the food banks have been really hit hard. We want to help replenish that. It's all non-perishable goods. There'll be a bin outside CLS, and Brianne and her staff will have flyers. It'll be mentioned on Coffee Chat. It'll be in the update. So, you know, when you go, just get a couple of extra cans of this or that. Mostly, I know they like canned vegetables, canned fruits, pasta, rice, but we're going to get more details when we do the Coffee Chat. So right now, we just want you to be aware this is going to happen. So thank you for your generosity on the food side for those in our area who are suffering. And these are working people who are just trying to put food on the table for the most part. Chris, your job is almost done. I don't know. Check this.
Okay. All right. You have all seen their pictures, the RAC candidates. You have read their bios in the log, and you've heard them speak on Coffee Chat. Today is the day they become members of our RAC Council. I'm going to ask them to stand, and after all of them have stood, I'd like us to give them a raucous round of applause, because these people have volunteered to go to a lot of meetings for 2 years. We did tell them about it, and they said they'd do it anyway. So here we go. Barbara Ponatowski, another 2 years. George Ellis, are you here, George? Yes. Right here, okay. Eileen Wiederman, right here in the front. Sue Ellen Pinkerton. Hey! These are amazing candidates, so let's give them all our support, and thank you very much. And I have just one more thing I have to say is thank you to my committee. So Kate Chambers, I don't know if she's here. She's a busy lady. Janet Allen is here. Kathy Creighton. Tom Clare is on a cruise, I think, and Jim Griffith. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chris. The candidates are exceptional. If you read their bios and have a chance to talk with them, I think you're going to have an amazing year for the next couple of years with this group. All right, now for the exciting part, management updates. Our favorite Sarah Nina is going to talk about the rate increase and the letter sent and whatever.
Good morning, everyone. I don't know that I'm your favorite today, but we'll try to get there. So today I'm going to talk about the 2026 monthly service fee increase. Everyone at this point should have received the written distribution, which did include the majority of the details. So today we're just going to do an overview and a summary, and then I do have a couple of questions that were submitted that I will also go over. So for 2026, the monthly service fee increase is going to be 3.8% across the board. So that's for the independent living houses, both types of houses, the ones that are entrance fee houses and the equity homes, the apartments, assisted living, and memory care. Consumer Price Index, we are following the trend line that you see for Consumer Price Index, which we refer to as CPI. Same goes for Social Security's cost of living. So if you look at the history of our monthly service fee rate increase and you look at the history there, you're going to see some very similar trend lines. We anticipate that will always continue that way. So before we get into the expenses, which are the main drivers of the rate increase, I just have a couple of highlights for the top line on the revenue side. Today we won't be going over the whole budget. I'm just giving you highlights. So next year, we're anticipating revenue to grow by about $2 million. Independent living occupancy accounts for half or more of that. Some of that is from capacity growth too. It's not just that increase that we're giving the residents. It's also that we added some sellable units. So for example, we bought a house. We added some apartments that used to be storage back. That contributed to that revenue growth. The healthcare center is also budgeted to grow. It's about $663,000 is the most updated number. That's still subject to a little bit of change because there are federal payer sources, Medicare, Medicaid, that impact this. And then our life care residents who are in the higher levels of care, whether that be assisted living, memory care, or the healthcare center, the discounts that they get as having that life care contract increased in the budget year over year, $269,000. So when residents say to me, why did I buy into this? What value am I getting? Well, you can see that those numbers are increasing because we're continuing to give those discounts to our residents as they deserve. So the key factors that have contributed to the increase are always going to start off with the most impactful being labor and wages. So why are you receiving that increase every year? Why are your costs going up? Because we have to pay people to work here and their costs are also going up. So for labor and wages, there are a couple of different things and we'll get into a little bit more detail here. But the Florida minimum wage a couple of years back was slated to increase $1 a year for several years. That doesn't sound like a lot. $1 doesn't sound like a lot, but on a percentage basis, that's pretty significant because historically it was going up a couple cents a year. So that has an impact to our wages that we pay. Even if we're just paying minimum wage, that's year over year, that's a 7% increase just to minimum wage. But we can't always pay minimum wage for a lot of positions and remain competitive. So that has continued to influence us each year, and 2026 is no different. It's still impactful. Our cost of living for our employees impacts the wages that we do pay. So I'll give you an example a little bit further along. And then health insurance costs are rising considerably. Other than wages, the categories where we saw some increases were general and administrative, which is really IT and software related, maintenance, food and beverage, the healthcare center, and then insurance and taxes. And obviously we've touched on the life care discounts. So let's get into a little bit more detail about labor and wages. Overall, year to year, we're budgeting an increase of about right now it's $784,000. There's still a little bit of tweaking going on, but we shouldn't see material adjustments from this point forward. The most significant growth that we saw was in the healthcare center and the food and beverage departments, which is what we would anticipate. The minimum wage is going from $14 to $15, so that's a 7%. We don't have too many people who are under the threshold currently, but as we move forward, we're going to see compression from that. We're going to continue to feel the pressure of that minimum wage. We did not grow our total employee base year over year in the budget. Some departments saw a little bit of up, some down. So for example, right now we're anticipating a slight increase in the food and beverage department. And then other areas, there's a little bit of ups and downs. I'll give you an example. One of our retirement counselors are in the sales department, retired, and we're not backfilling that position. So that was a decrease in the general and administrative category, but then we saw an increase in food and beverage. But overall, the total employee base is staying about where it's at with the changes across departments. Year to year, health insurance is currently anticipated to grow $222,000. So that's the same amount of employees, but the total cost of health insurance over $200,000 in growth. And that's the part that the company pays. There's still the premiums that the employees have to pay, not included in that number because that's out of their pocket. And then most departments are budgeted on an annual basis for a merit increase. So if you do a good job at your performance review, you get an increase each year. That is budgeted at 3% per department. So if you really go above and beyond, you can get more than 3%. If you underperform or you didn't do well, under the 3. So it can average out, but overall 3%. So this is an example that I've given for the past couple of years, and I wanted to give it again today. But what I did here, and I know you can't see all the numbers on the screen, I'm going to read them off to you. What you see here is someone who works here in a cook or CNA position, very similar pay scales, and what it looks like. So last year I gave an example. I ran through the numbers. Their total expenses between rent, groceries, utilities, gas, and car insurance was $2,570. Their pay was $2,297 last year. So I'm going to run through category by category this year, upcoming 2026, what that would look like. So for rent, let's say rent went down a little bit. Last year it was $1,650. We're going to say this year it's $1,615. Rent in the markets went down just a little bit, but it's still pretty high. Groceries, we kept it flat, $400 a month. Utilities, we kept it flat, $210 a month, so it didn't increase year over year. Gas, $160. Car insurance, $180. We said that went up from $150. So if we just look at those expense categories for a cook or a CNA living on their own, forget if they have kids or a dog or anything like that, this is just base expenses, they'd be paying $2,565 a month. They'd be making, after taxes, and this is minimum taxes, and this is not health insurance or anything, just taxes, they'd be making $2,366. So at the bottom of this slide, you're going to see 2024, 2025, and 2026. It shows the gap between what we pay and what their expenses are as an employee. In 2024, the gap was $327. In 2025, it was $273. In 2026, with the numbers I just gave you, it's $199, so about $200. We're getting better, but there's still a gap between what has happened with inflation and what we've been able to pay our employees. So when I received the question, why is my fee going up every year? Every year the answer above everything else is to pay the employees. But we are then limited what we can pay the employees. So every year we're giving them an increase or we're raising our wages, but not to the extent that it covers what it costs to live out in the marketplace. And these are bare minimum numbers that I used here for this example. Moving on from labor and wages, the categories that are not related to labor and wages where we saw increases. The top one would be maintenance, so that's about $231,000. That is different factors there. The emergency call systems in the homes, not just the homes, just security services in general, because we also have monitoring fees that we have to pay that vendor or contractor. Cable, equipment repairs, vehicle upkeep. Our vehicles are aging, as you all know. We have proposed new vehicles in the capital budget. We do not have an answer on the capital budget request yet, but we're hoping to get some new vehicles to alleviate some of that. And then roofs. Food and beverage department, obviously higher resident counts means we're going to have more food and supply cost plus inflation on top of that. And then the cost of employee meals also is factored in. General and administrative, we saw a really serious growth here, and we have seen this across the board. This is not just Cypress Village. That was about, as of right now, $148,000. It's a very significant increase. That has to do with our third-party IT company and software-related costs. So in today's world, for us to keep our systems safe and work out of all these electronic medical record systems, we have to have all kinds of protections and firewalls and all these things to make sure that your information is kept secure and that we're continuing to work in a secure environment from a technology standpoint. That costs a lot of money. The healthcare center, we did see an increase there, primarily related to pharmacy. What we have discovered is really a main driver of that is we have at least one specific drug that almost everyone is prescribed that does not have a generic, so we are forced to pay the price of, in it specifically, it's Eliquis. I'm sure many of you have heard of or are prescribed Eliquis. So when someone comes into our healthcare center with Eliquis, we have to provide it for them, and we cannot get a generic. It's very expensive. And there's a lot of work that needs to go into that with doctors prescribing it. But regardless, if a doctor has prescribed it and one of our residents come into our healthcare center, we have to pay for it. It's very expensive. And then insurance and taxes, so liability insurance and claims, and then property insurance has gone up about $113,000. That's usually one of the last categories to be finalized, but I'm anticipating that number is not going to change much. So a couple of reminders that I have for everyone. The 2026 budget is not fully approved yet. It has gone from Life Care Services to HealthPeak, our owners, and there's a lot of finalizing and back and forth going on right now. So the numbers that you see today are the most final at this point that we have. The consumer price index that we reference in the letters and that we publish is available online. There's a very specific ID you can look at on the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it's there on the screen. It's also published in the written distribution that went out to you. Anniversary dates, this is a big frequently asked question that we get. So anniversary dates are where most of our residents receive their annual increase. It's on their anniversary date. What does that mean? It means it's the day that you signed your residency contract. It's not the day you physically moved in. It's the day you signed your residency contract. So some people right now are just now receiving their 2025 monthly service fee increase, and they're not going to get the 26 increase that we're talking about today until next year at this time. So I have an example. Hopefully this helps to clarify what that looks like. So on the screen, let's run through this example very briefly. A resident signs their contract on December 10th, 2020. It's when they signed their contract, not when they moved in. Every year, they're going to receive their increase on December 10th, the day that they signed their contract originally. So if today, resident number one is paying $4,000, then on December 10th of this year, they're going to receive a 4.6% increase because that's this year's increase amount. That's going to bring their fee to $4,184. Next year, on December 10th, 2026, they're going to get a 3.8% increase, the increase we're talking about today for next year on that date. Okay, now I'm going to just read off some questions that were submitted in advance regarding the 2026 monthly service fee increase. Okay, and one was submitted, there was a couple submitted in one email. One of them is residents are already feeling the ongoing impact of the previous government's 10% embedded increase in overall CPI, which is Consumer Price Index. CPI continues to increase, although at a much lower level. Cypress Village is operating at near full capacity and is highly profitable based on previous reporting. Why did Cypress Village have to keep the add-on of the full 2% versus not at a reduced percentage? So what that means is the contracts say we can increase Consumer Price Index plus 2%. So the question is, why didn't we just increase that Consumer Price Index? Why did we add that 2%? The answer is because we need to pay our employees and we're still not filling that gap that you see. And yes, we have to be profitable. We are owned by a for-profit owner and entity, and they expect to make some money. So that is why. It's not because we're trying to nickel and dime our residents. It's because we still have a ways to go before we close that gap between what the staff make and what they're paying in the open market for rent, etc. What can residents expect in the future if inflation falls to 1 or 1.5%? If inflation falls, which would be CPI, to 1 or 1.5%, residents could expect their increase to be that amount plus 2%, because our wages are not going to regress at that amount. More information on capital projects would be useful, such as the elevator replacements, names, costs, dates, etc. As the building ages and more costs rise, this will grow. Yes, that is a very good point. We will be sharing more capital project information in the quarterly financial presentations at least once, possibly twice a year moving forward, depending on the timing of when that comes out. Our capital accounting, so the fiscal year for capital, is a little bit different than our typical. So it starts in December, and we haven't even received the final approved budget for next year yet. So when we do, when that time's out, which we should get very, very soon, the next quarterly presentation will be able to provide some information. Fleet Landing appears to be expanding. Does Cypress Village have any plans for future expansion? Not at this time. We would like to see the possibility of, some projects occur in the future, but at this time our owners have not expressed an appetite for that. So we have no reason to believe that that will be happening. Okay, the next one is regarding the equity houses, so the houses that are owned outright versus the entrance fee residents. So is the fee enough to cover the cost of the maintenance, including their roofs? So that's specific to the equity houses. So are we charging the equity houses enough money to pay for their roofs? Well, we're going to pay for enough roofs that balance the budget. So if everyone wants a roof all at once, they're not all going to get a roof replaced all at once. We're going to have to prioritize, which is what we're doing now. Is everyone else, such as the apartments and villas, subsidizing the equity houses? I wouldn't say there is a direct subsidy at this time. There's not. Are some expense fluctuations up and down over the months depending on what happens, where there's a maintenance emergency, etc.? Yeah, there may be some months where we have more emergencies in the equity houses. There may be some months where we have more maintenance expenses in the towers, for example. But overall, the equity houses do not have a cap. They don't have Consumer Price Index plus 2% cap on their monthly service fee increase. So in the future, should we get in a position where this is really getting to a point where the equity houses are costing so much more, we could make an adjustment. Okay, those are the questions that were submitted to me. Other than a thank you, which I appreciate the thank you email. I'll take more of those if anybody wants to send them. Otherwise, those are the only questions that were submitted. And I thank you all for your time. I will be here at the end for the questions then, if there's any more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And like she said, at the Q&A, you can ask questions specific to her. She will be here. And with that, we're having an update from our director, who looks incredibly sharp today, Mr. Ty Morgan. Do you have a microphone?
Good morning, residents. Hope everybody's doing well today. Nice, crisp morning. I want to thank Sarah for her thoughtful attention during that presentation. A lot of work goes into that, and she really puts a lot of effort into that to really share the details with it. And as Sarah had shared on our 2026 rate adjustment, it really does reflect a very balanced and fair approach. You know, it protects the value of our life care contracts, as well as ensures that Cypress Village continues to deliver on the high standards of service and amenities that all of you are here to and deserve. Before I move into the rest of my updates, I would like to take a moment to recognize a few of our outstanding members of the Resident Advisory Council. I'd like to start first with our outgoing president, Ms. Pam Inholtz. Pam has served on the Resident Council as the president with dedication, grace, in completing her term and rotating off the rack this year. Pam, let's give Pam a big round of applause. Your leadership, thoughtfulness, and partnership have really made a lasting impression on the community, Pam. I really enjoyed working with you, as did the management team. So excellent job mentoring new members and really ensuring a smooth transition, and we're very deeply grateful. Thank you. I'd like to present you with a nice bouquet of flowers that Laurel has here behind as well as a certificate. Just thanking you on behalf of Cypress Village and the community at large. Let's give her a round of applause. We also have sitting right next to her, Mr. Leo Warner, who is also going to be rotating off the rack and serving on the maintenance committee. Let's give Leo a big thank you for his insight and commitment, behind the scenes work, and also the attitude of really getting it done. It made a real difference, Leo. We really appreciate you and your time serving. And I am excited to continue working with Barbara Ponitowski, who was reelected and will most likely be serving as the next council president, along with our new and returning RAC members. This collaboration between both our leadership, resident leadership, and management is something that I truly value, and we will continue to look forward to in the future. So, Barbara, looking forward to another year with you as well. I'd like to take just a brief moment just to reflect on what was truly a special event last month at the University of North Florida. We had our Healthcare Community Gala and Symposium. Cypress Village was proud to serve as a sponsor to the event, one of the main sponsors, which brought together both healthcare leaders, students, and healthcare professionals from across the Jacksonville area. UNF graciously transported a large number of our residents to the evening over at the campus, which included dinner, awards, an inspiring presentation from the Mayo Clinic on what the future of healthcare looks like, which was very interesting. And then we even had some dancing to the UNF Jazz Band to wrap it off. And there's some videos out there that you may want to catch. Katie may have those in a file somewhere. But we had a great time. I'm very humbled, really, to share that I was recognized as the Healthcare Professional of the Year, and our own, thank you. And our own Sarah Nina was also named the Alumnus of the Year. Congrats. You know, I would say both of these honors don't really reflect on just us as individuals. It really reflects on all of us here at the community, both residents and staff, that what we do here every day to make Cypress Village a special place. So very humble about that. But this partnership with UNF has really opened up a lot of doors for our community, residents and employees. From internships and shadowing opportunities to our new AI for work and life learning program that several residents here today are already enrolled in and hopefully learning. And there's more to come. We have the Distinguished Voices series coming up, many musical performances, including a flute ensemble and an orchestra concert, along with multiple sporting events coming up this upcoming year. So we are excited about 2026 and our relationship with UNF. But lastly, what I wanted to talk about today was really giving everybody a big thank you for participating in our resident satisfaction survey. We had one of the highest response rates we have ever had here at Cypress. We had a 99% participation rate, hold on, in independent living, 100% participation in the equity houses, which was great, and the healthcare center had 100% participation. So that tells us something really powerful, I think. It says that our residents are very engaged and family members, invested and care deeply about shaping the future of our village here at Cypress. Across all levels of care, the overall satisfaction really remained strong this year. The majority of our categories scored above 80%. Residents continue to rate friendliness, safety, and our sense of community among the top strengths of Cypress Village. With that being said, what makes this data more meaningful isn't just the numbers, it's really the patterns behind them. So this was very, very interesting. So when we looked at the demographics, the youngest residents here at Cypress Village and the oldest residents here at Cypress Village were the happiest. They rated us the highest. So the most dissatisfied groups of residents tend to be the residents that have lived here 3 to 5 years, particularly in the 75 to 79 age bracket and the 85 to 89 age bracket. So there's that. So honestly, when we looked at the data, we weren't very surprised by that. We thought that made a lot of sense. You know, those that are newest to the community are still discovering everything that Cypress Village has to offer and is, and obviously have been pretty pleased with that, while the others that have been here 10 plus years have seen really how far this property has come and this community has come and all the positive things that have happened along that way. So I think those two data points make a lot of sense. It's the middle group, the residents who arrived right around COVID and the years that followed COVID, who really experienced some of the toughest transitions here at Cypress Village, which again is very understandable. Cypress Village is going to rebuild that trust for that middle group and a sense of consistency day by day. And all of the feedback that everybody provided us in the survey, as well as in emails, conversations in the hallway, face-to-face, notes, memos, Post-it notes, all of that feedback means so much to us. So a big thank you to that. And that's really what helps us make things better for you. So overall, the data confirms that Cypress is operating at a very strong place. We're stable and we're continuing to improve. But it also reminds us that satisfaction is not static at all. It's actually something we really need to earn from you every single year, and we will work to do so. So looking ahead, also later this month, we'll be meeting with the full Residents Council to really review the survey details in full. The action plan and the follow-up steps that we owe to you, our residents, will be presented at the January 2026 community meeting, which we have, traditionally called the State of the Village address. And that's where we will connect all of the feedback findings that you provided directly to our 2026 goals and actionable steps to address the feedback that had opportunities. However, today, I do want to give a quick preview of the top priorities already emerging from your feedback. The first of which, again, this is not a big surprise, is dining services. So dining services continues to be a top priority for our residents. It was not the highest rated item. Hold on, let me say that again. It was not the highest commented item. That was elevators, but dining services, spoiler alert. it is really a topic of conversation around this community and every community around the United States, so I can tell you that. But your feedback really focused on 4 specific things. It was the meal temperatures, service consistency, salad bar options or lack thereof, and menu variety. So we've already, we knew a lot of these things before we got to the survey, so we've already taken some steps of action that I'd like to share with you. The first of which, we have hired a new chef. His name is Mr. David Salvino. He has been with us about a week now, and we are looking very forward to David's experience. He has been an executive chef doing this in multiple other types of venues for many years. And we've also hired a new dining room manager who is scheduled to start next week this time. His name is Tyler as well. His name is Tyler Pizak. So we got Tyler squared here in dining. Another item, so that was one item that we've already taken action on. Number 2 is completing a successful server training led by our dining team with major support from the sales department, including our sales counselors Tanya Booth and Charlie Farrell, and also led and proctored by our very own Laurel Mundell, who is doing an amazing job with that. Third, continuing menu chat sessions to capture more resident feedback. Those sessions have become very robust and very interactive. And lastly, assessing updates to the Sandpiper store. We know that is a big area of opportunity. Our coffee offerings, which Tyler has already made a lot of headway on, which we'll be announcing more. And kitchen equipment for better efficiency and quality. So those were the high priority items for dining services. The second area or department that residents said we had some opportunities in were housekeeping. So the areas of priority listed for housekeeping were detail, especially on the first floor. Number 2, scheduling for residents' cleanings. And number 3, common area upkeep and consistency. So this survey was distributed when we had a different environmental services director in place. It was out. Since then, we have promoted Natalie Gibbs, who has stepped into the director role and is leading the team with great direction and accountability. So we're very happy with that. A couple areas that we're focusing on actionable for our residents is enhancing the service quality on the first floor, amenities and restrooms, and reestablishing periodic resident feedback to track housekeeping satisfaction. Third item, I mentioned elevators. This was by far the greatest and most concerning item for our residents, especially here in the towers. I can't say I'm sorry enough to the residents that have been impacted by this. It's truly a serious disruption to your life, and I'm sorry, but we are working on it. So no surprises here. The elevator reliability continues to be the most talked about of the concerns here at Cypress Village. Good news is we have a fully approved, funded A-Tower elevator modernization project with a new vendor whose name is Kone. This upgrade will replace all major components and the interiors of both carts in the A-Tower, greatly improving reliability and consistency. So here's the I'm going to give everybody just a quick update. We do have a slight delay. I'm not going to specify how long, but we do have a slight delay, unfortunately, due to the manufacturing of some materials related to the global supply chain, also some tariff issues. The project has shifted slightly. It has not shifted greatly, but slightly. I'm not going to commit to any specific dates, but I will say it was roughly 30 to 60 days. We'll know more here as this week happens, but that's what I'm going to state now. So our elevator will remain operational at all times, and we will provide regular updates as we have them. But I want to thank all of our residents for their patience. It's been a long process, but we're committed to hopefully bringing this to an end by the end of the year. And last but not least, communication. These were the 4 areas of opportunity. I thought we did a pretty good job on communication. I get a lot of compliments about communication, but communication, as all of you know, is the crux to everything. So the most important theme that we heard from our residents was the timeliness of the communication and the consistency. So as part of our actionable item in 2026, what we're going to do, our communication plan will define how we're going to share and distribute all different types of information, from emergency notifications to construction updates and campus news. We have a plan that we are going to hopefully streamline this internally for us as well as all of our residents and families. So I will close by saying this, that all of your feedback really only creates change when it's acted upon, and that's really what my goal and my team's goal is, to continue to making life here at Cypress Village the best it can be for all of you. I want to thank you all again for completing the survey. Your participation really gives us a lot of insight, and together we'll continue to make Cypress Village the best version of itself for today and many years ahead. Thank you for your time, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, and thank you, Ty and administration, for your gracious offering of the flowers. I am only as good as my committee and my staff. The staff, they're not getting paid, so I guess they're not staff. But the committee, and I'd like to thank them for their work and their support and their commitment to doing all we can to be a conduit for you all to management and forward. And also appreciate the attendance here. It's been really good since the RAC decided to make it every other month. I think the information you're getting is meaningful and worthwhile and concise, hopefully. With that, we're going to open it up for Q&A. And Katie Amador will lead that. She'll start with the submitted ones, but then we'll open up to the floor as time permits. There you go, girl.
All right. Good morning again, everyone. So as Pam said, we'll start with the questions that were submitted in advance to life@cypressvillageretirement.com. And just a quick reminder and plug, you can submit questions anytime for upcoming community meetings to that email. All right, so the first one we will start with is a dining services related question that kind of turned into a housekeeping related question. It was as reads: I am happy to see the takeout boxes can now be recycled, but disappointed that the wooden stirrers for coffee and tea have been replaced with plastic. Can we go back to recyclable stirrers? I was recently in a hotel in Atlanta which provided wooden stirrers inside a paper covering, which could be an option. They are hygienic, easy to open, and recyclable. So with our new coffee installations coming up, partnering with a new vendor, Tyler, can you shed a little bit of light on the possibility of getting recyclable coffee stirrers?
Yes, it is.
Possible or happening?
Oh yes, it'll happen. It's not been the priority, but yes, that's something we can do. I've got to get on first of all, enrolled in the online portal for the new vendor, where we'll order the majority of our product to meet their minimum for the monthly. And so from there, we'll get the recyclables moving forward.
Perfect. Thank you, Tyler. And then this question kind of went on. It said, thank you, Katie. Whilst you are raising that, those responsible for recycling matters, maybe someone could address how we are to dispose of our recycling. I've heard we need to empty everything out from any bag into the bin, but I see recycling items left in both plastic and paper bags. I think people want to recycle, so please let us know exactly how to do so. So with that being said, I actually looked this up, and you cannot technically recycle plastic bags. They damage the recycling equipment. So I did confirm with Natalie, you can place recyclable items into a paper bag and put that in the recycling bin, but you cannot place recyclable items into a plastic grocery bag and put those into the recycling bin. There is also signage being placed in all of the trash rooms with some recycling reminders, so you can keep an eye out for that. And Natalie also has a recycling article with various reminders what can and cannot be recycled here at Cypress Village going into the November newsletter. So there will be more information to come on recycling, but we're always looking for ways to get better at that. But yes, just to clarify, you can recycle paper, brown bags. You cannot recycle plastic bags. So I actually learned something new with that as well. Our next questions are more maintenance related, and I believe Joe had to cover something back at the office, so Ty said he will handle these to the best of his ability. The first is, number 1, why does the floor move when standing in front of the C elevator on the first floor?
I'm not aware of the floor moving. That's the first I've heard of it.
Okay.
I'll have to.
Has anyone experienced this? Okay. All right. All right. We'll talk about it. Okay. So we'll have to look into that. Okay. Next question is, Ty, is it possible for you to give an update on getting the lake lights operable? Even more during this, it's even more important during this time change since it gets darker so soon.
Are we talking about colored lights or just white, the regular white? Or
These are just the regular fountain lights. I believe some are inoperable at
I
this
do
time.
not have an update on that, but we could get that out to the residents, Katie, whatever you feel is the best way to do so. I do know maintenance is working with our contractors in regards to the pumps to get either the pump replaced. I don't know the specifics. I would not be telling you the truth if I said it, but I do know it's in process.
And we can follow up with maintenance on the items that we don't have an answer for today and make sure that information is in Coffee Chat in the upcoming newsletter. But Ty, there is one more maintenance question, and that is, and you may or may not know the answer, when will the backside roof of the building be cleaned? This resident doesn't personally have an opinion on it, but would think that someone looking at the community from the dock, the putting green, the croquet area might notice that dirty roof.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Whoever sent that in, it's the parapet roof. We do have the towers scheduled for a complete pressure washing. I don't know the exact start date, but it would start sometime in 2026, hopefully earlier than later. So I would say we would start that hopefully in January, February at the latest.
All right, very good. And I believe that was all of the questions submitted in advance. Brianne is going to come around with the microphone. If anyone has any additional questions, we do have representation from dining here, resident services, administrative services, community life services, the executive office. Any other questions today for community meeting or for the greater general good? We are also recording this meeting.
Yeah, you mentioned the recycling. Maybe you could post that in the trash rooms themselves for the people who are not here today.
Yes, and Natalie will be posting just a little one-page kind of FAQ reference sheet in all trash rooms here in the towers, and then we'll be putting out information as well in the newsletter regarding recycling. Okay.
With respect to the lighting on the
Fountains.
parking,
Okay.
there's 7 different lights with double lights. 8 of them are out.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Those have been ordered. We're expecting those to be here hopefully this week and installed as soon as they arrive.
Okay, so lights on the upper deck of the parking garage, ordered.
When will there be an update on Thanksgiving plans?
Thanksgiving plans like dining hours, office hours, etc. We'll probably start those this week on Coffee Chat and in the weekly update. Anything specific outside of dining hours, cost, or office hours needed for Thanksgiving Day? Okay, we'll be sure those are communicated. A couple more questions. Brianne's coming around.
I just want to follow up on lighting. Is there anything about that orange lot?
The orange lot lighting.
More lighting.
Laurel, do you know anything about orange parking lot lighting?
Hi, this was a maintenance project, and Joe had the lights installed. Was that Miss Marianne that was asking? Oh, Carol. Have you not noticed a difference? Oh, Oh, perfect. Yes. No, he had installed those a few weeks back. I think it might have been a couple months ago by this. Well, because it's the holidays, it's flying now. But yes, those you should see a change.
Hi, I just wanted to say, it's my understanding for plastic bags, the Publix is the only one that collects them.
I believe that is correct. Publix does have a little station outside their stores where you can recycle those plastic bags because to clarify, they can be recycled, but they cannot be recycled with other things
Right.
because they mess up the
Right.
recycling machines.
Exactly.
Yes,
So I
but
just-
thank you.
I make a bag of bags. And
Yeah.
When I go get
And we can include a reminder about that for any residents that want to take those, on a shopping trip or whatever to recycle.
Marie,
Yes.
did you have one?
Styrofoam also at Publix can be recycled, so we'll include that as well. Thank you.
You're putting up signs in the trash rooms. Could you have them also put for the people who have not a washer or dryer in their apartments? Could you please put up signs there because the people are getting very messy as far as cleaning the machines out when they finish using them, and be a little more respectful for the other people.
Yes, Natalie and I actually talked about this. There's been a couple different things with residents either leaving laundry, maybe accidentally or just forgetting, leaving supplies, possibly even leaving a mess. So Natalie is thinking through some options there. One thing that she is implementing that she told me was whiteboards in all of the laundry rooms, and her hope there is that residents will write their name when they're using the laundry room so that the next resident that comes, if there's still laundry or supplies or whatever, they'll know which neighbor was currently using the laundry room. But we can list some common housekeeping items for the laundry rooms and reminders.
I'm coming back to you, Kathy.
As of last night, anyway, the lights, there were only 3 lights working in the orange lot. One of them happened to be an orangish colored light that didn't give off much, and the other 2 were at the far end. So it was very dark last night, anyhow, when I came in. The other thing I wanted to mention is that those plates that are there in the orange lot, there are 4 of them that are, sunken in for, I don't know whether they're for water underneath or whatever they are, but they're a big tripping possibility, real safety issue, I think. And I think it would be nice to have some kind of paint around those, the edge that would reflective paint that might pick up some of the lighting when it's done.
Yes.
And that might help.
Yes, so this is on safety committee's radar as well as Ty's and mine. So we were thinking about doing yellow, but we might actually do like glow in the dark or something like that, because it's really especially in the evenings that it's such an issue. During the day as well, but more so in the evenings. So we're trying to see if we can get a kind of paint that would be appropriate, especially at night. And then I'm going to look into those night lights too. What's going on with the A Tower lot? Because I thought that orange light was supposed to have been replaced with a brighter light. So I'll look into that. I'm sorry.
This time change, it brings a lot of attention to the lighting outside. It gets dark early. So we'll look at all the lighting and we'll follow up on those items as well in the newsletter. Lighting around the community and what's been fixed and what is on the list to be fixed. Any other questions? Okay.
On the dining side, I'd like to make a comment about reservations. On Thursday, I dialed in, at 7:13, and my choices were 4:30 or 6. No 4:45, no 5, no 5:15, no 5:30, no 5:45. This is really hard, and I only try to come over here to eat once a week.
Tyler?
Yes, so reservations are becoming a topic of concern again. What we've done is instead of having the reservation window open up at midnight every evening, we've changed that to 7 a.m. That's why Ms. Westmoreland mentioned 7:13. We're finding that it's still just a concern, still not really resolving the issue. What we are looking at next is actually putting a limit on the number of reservations per person per week. That's what seems to be the most fair. So yeah, that's the route we're leaning. That's the route we're probably going to go. We'll touch on it in menu chat tomorrow, or Wednesday, I'm sorry, and kind of get a feel, but that's what we're looking at. I just need to make sure that it would apply to every guest rather than a reservation made by the guest. What I mean by that is we're finding that one person will make a reservation for the same group of people. That person will then move that reservation, or whoever's making it will be made by another person of that group. So we're finding that that's happening a lot.
Yeah. Heard. Okay, understood. All right, so reservations are a work in progress. In the meantime, reservation window will stay the same, Tyler, correct? And just be patient with us. And if you experience an issue, you can't get a reservation, reach out to Tyler or Michaela or a member of the management team, and they really will do their best to try to get you in if possible.
I'd like to make a comment about that, because my understanding is that many of the people who make the reservations are not able to go through the line at Middleton's, that it's very difficult for them and they want to be served. And I'm wondering if there's some way that an additional person, or, is there a way to help people be served from Middleton's that might, some assistance could be offered for people who have difficulties with their walkers or other handicap issues?
Yeah, that's certainly a thought. I do think a lot of that or not a lot of that traffic, but a good bit of that traffic in Lakeside is due to the tableside service. A lot of residents prefer that type of service. Tyler, do you have any thoughts on extending service in Middleton's?
Extending service?
Or the ability of the servers to serve tableside?
So that is tableside service in Middleton's that would be yes, things need to improve in what we are doing to offer assistance. That is definitely something that I'm looking at with the managers in that area to make sure that that is being done. Moving to a tableside service sort of style, I don't know if that's what we mean exactly, but that would be a big move. That would be a restructuring, basically, of the dining team itself and the hours and labor that go into it. So I wouldn't be able to make that decision right now or even in the next month, but offering more assistance, we can, and we should. I just need to make sure everybody on the team is aware of that.
All right. So we'll look into that further and let you all know what that looks like, how to request that type of assistance if needed in Middleton's. Okay. Any other questions? One more, I think.
It's not a question. I just want to say, for those of us who do have walkers, if there's a problem, the servers have been wonderful. If you ask them, could you please help me? They have been taking the foods to the tables.
Awesome. Very good to know. Sounds like we just maybe need to formalize what that request looks like. But yes, our servers are always willing to help you. All right, well, I believe that will conclude the Q&A portion of community meeting. Thank you.
With that, we are all excused and adjourned. Thank you all very, very much. The next meeting is January, and it'll be on a Tuesday again at 10 o'clock. All right. God bless. Have a good holiday season.